Well, it's the Halloween season, and I wanted to do more of a monster kind of creepypasta, so why not one about a fat bastard that eats people in alleyways? I think that the story isn't that bad, and it's pretty interesting. I mean, I'd share my pants if that monstrosity came towards me. And apparently there are some bus drivers in this story that seem to know about the Glutton, and let the person get eaten because I guess the bus drivers have a grudge against their passengers? Maybe they have a deal with the Glutton that he can eat potential passengers so that they'll be spared. I don't know, that's my guess. You know, now that I really think about it, I'm really glad that I live in the suburbs of Chicago, so I won't be eaten at night by that fucker. It's night. The sky's innocent baby blue is now a godless black. You don't want to be here. The friendliness of these streets died at sunset, and now you must walk alone. The regular dose of fear slides down your throat once you realize you have company. The sound of footsteps come from behind you. You are certain no one was not there earlier. They must have come out from one of the alleyways. Only another 10 minutes or so till you reach your bus stop. You know that you are afraid, but are certainly aware of your own curiosity. The sound of these footsteps are still with you. They are the only thing keeping you company in this moment. You are with the company of the unknown. You know it shouldn't scare you, but it does. There is a person behind you who has been watching you walk for a good few minutes. You've not seen a single glance at him. Your fear and curiosity battle with one another. The footsteps almost turn to silence by the ground of your own voice fighting with itself inside your head. You want to look, but you are scared. What is behind you? Is it following you? Will you look foolish or mean-spirited to take a glance behind? You stop to tie your already tied shoelace. You begin to tremble around for a second, then glance behind before getting back up. It's a man. A very fat, bald man, wearing a leather jacket that looks a little tight. You don't get a great description from this short glance, but enough to feel oddly calm. His appearance, though not the most ordinary, does not seem to have anything nasty about it. This was just a regular person, maybe on his way to a bus stop just like you. One thing that did stand out from your brief glance was that he was wearing a pair of sunglasses. The only light this street had were the street lights, dotted around either side of the street. You try to shrug it off as a fashionable thing, though your mind starts to question the flaws of this excuse. The sound of his footsteps grows louder and more frequent. He's speeding up. You try to walk at the same pace of his footsteps to ensure he doesn't catch up. You keep reminding yourself that it's not a very long walk till you reach the bus stop. Maybe someone else will be there. You keep questioning what this man's evil plans may be until you feel guilty for making such assumptions of him. He's just an ordinary person, your mind repeats. You start to notice a panting sound. You must be growing tired. His physique doesn't look the most athletic, you remind yourself. Your guilt grows along with the reassurance of this man's innocence. His panting grows into a coughing. It's a loud cough that sounds like that of a full-time smoker, but it certainly doesn't sound non-human. You feel ridiculous for even thinking that phrase. Non-human. As gay as you previously were, you are well aware of his human body. Were you expecting an animal sound coming from his mouth? These feelings of guilt and embarrassment make you want to turn around, face him, and apologize, even though he won't have a clue what you're talking about. It feels oddly like the right thing to do, yet you know it's obscure to confront a person with such unnecessary confessions. So you refrain from doing so. He starts to sputter, his footsteps sound more like stumbling. This is your chance. You decide to turn around to see if he's okay. If not, you can help him. You turn around, full of confidence, when your eyes meet the face of the man. His lips cover in dark saliva as his mouth opens. This mouth is unlike any of which you have seen before. He seems to have rows of jumbled up teeth inside. His mouth keeps opening. It keeps opening until it starts to look more like the action of a machine than a human. His jaw opens like that of a snake. His mouth has served as a distraction, and you have not noticed the changes in his body. His jacket is opening up. You notice bone-like joints serving as a structure to the jacket. This is no item of clothing. It's his own skin. The bones twist along with his spine. As his body opens up, you can see his ribcage doing the same. His bones grow as they open outwards. You can see something move from the inside of him. You run. The creature behind you follows. As you try to run against the wind that is blowing in your face, you notice the sound of bones clicking. You don't look back to see the latest updated form of the creature. Not only would it slow you down, but you do not wish to know anymore. You clench your teeth as the wind tries to blow you in its direction. Just around this corner, and you'll be at the bus stop. You tell yourself that the bus will be there. You'll be able to jump in and ride away safely. You hear the creature behind you, and you take a big gulp as you go around the corner. The bus is there, ahead of time. You can easily get in and order them to speed off in the opposite direction of that thing. With a smile of relief on your face, you run to the door of the bus. The door is closed, and as you bang on it, screaming for it to open, you notice that the driver is the only one on board. You have his attention, but notice his face barely reacting to your fear. Almost as if this nightmare is an everyday occurrence. You turn to the creature to point it out to the driver. He must have not noticed it. He must think you're drunk. As you face the creature, you notice its fat body was actually made up of a dozen bony arms inside of its chest. It's using them like a spider uses its legs. What looked like the face of a man has been folded backwards, exposing the very spider-like body of the creature. You quickly turn back to the driver. He has to let you in now. The last thing you see is his very unsympathetic face, shaking at you.
Was there a fiend last night?
Yep. Should keep him well fed for a week or so. Two men sat on a bench in the busy city street, full of people enjoying the day's sunlight. Both men wore blue shirts with a badge on the side, a bus driver's uniform.
Was it a messy one?
No, nothing much left of him to clear up. The station has already found a criminal to pair up with the death. The pair sat there, watching over the street, occasionally glancing down an alleyway. Down that alleyway, they could just make out a fat, bald face with sunglasses. It watched the people walk by, waiting for the sunset.